So it is my pleasure to introduce and to welcome some of our major partners and customers. We have Alejandro Beivide from Acciona. I should not stand in his way. Vicente Gomez from Aquatech, which is a Suez company. We have Gonzalo Delacámara, an independent economist who does a lot of consulting for the World Bank, and Alejandro Macera from the Agua magazine. Last but not least, Jokin Larrauri. He is our Vice President of Business Development and Sales, but he's also in charge of our digitization drive for Schneider Electric. So with that, I would like to thank all of you for coming and turn it over to Carmen, who will moderate this panel. Carmen, please.
Thank you, Lucas. Thank you very much. And thank you so much to you, our experts at the panel, for being here today with us. I apologize about my voice because we have here so much to talk about, that this is the result. Okay, so let's talk about digitization in water. We are living around this digital world. We are seeing a transformation in the water business, in the water world. And I would like to ask you an open question to all of you. Where do you see the most benefits, the most valuable outcomes of this transformation, and where would be the greatest growth opportunities? Alejandro?
Okay, thank you, Carmen. Good morning all. It's a good moment to explain about that digitalization and water are at least in this moment together, okay, because during several times this was quite complicated. In these moments, we have a lot of opportunities to define what will be the next steps to discover things. And in water, this is the very good opportunity. In water technologies, we are arriving to the last discovered things about design techniques and an optimal situation. But we are discovering non-visible things using artificial intelligence or that kind of things. We are moving from non-visible to visible things. It's an auto-discovering. And of course, the biggest opportunity to grow is that we can increase productivity and get better designs.
Okay, and for Vicente in Suez.
Okay, first of all, thanks for inviting me to this event. Well, I think that this new context is going to be special to offer a global concept of efficiency, okay? Because I suppose that this new context is going to help, or should help us to offer different services, to offer more disruptive business models related to the new technologies with the artificial intelligence, IoT, etc., etc. So I think that this new context is going to help us to offer new disruptive and new services in our fields of water.
Okay.
Yeah, well, thanks very much. Generically, the potential that I see is very much in trying to understand that technology is a critical means to an end, but it's a means to an end. And therefore, we need to understand that many of the challenges are beyond technology itself. So a lot has to do with potential innovation in financing mechanisms, innovation in governance, and I will try to address that later on. But I think the important thing is also to realize that technology has a role to play in terms of integrating, in providing a more holistic view of water resources management and water services delivery. Because if we don't do that, if we don't address a nexus approach and we don't connect water, energy, and other challenges, I think we're missing the real opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Carmen. I would like I would prefer to talk in Spanish, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Yo creo que gracias a tecnologías como Internet de las Cosas o el despliegue de las redes de alta velocidad como el 5G, lo que vamos a tener son muchísimos datos, también una capacidad de procesamiento muchísimo mayor, y la pregunta es qué hacer con esos datos, ¿no? Yo creo que todos los caminos al final conducen a una palabra que es la eficiencia, ¿no? Y es la eficiencia que en el sector del agua se trata siempre de hacer más con menos. El sector del agua ha sido paradigma de la economía circular, y la digitalización tiene que profundizar en ese camino, permitir al sector seguir liderándolo, pero no solo quedarse ahí, sino también ser uno de los sectores que lidere la adaptación al cambio climático. Tenemos que ser más eficientes, como decía, también energéticamente, descarbonizar el sector, y estas tecnologías yo creo que lo pueden permitir. El sector del agua tiene que ser protagonista en estos debates, no puede ir a remolque de los movimientos sociales, etcétera, y tiene que empujar en esta digitalización también hacia la transparencia. Tiene que ofrecer más datos a la sociedad, de dónde viene el agua, cómo tratamos el agua, cómo devolvemos el agua, porque la sociedad, la nueva sociedad que está tan preocupada, tan concienciada, lo va a pedir tarde o temprano, y cuanto antes nos adaptemos, mucho mejor para todos.
In my opinion, sorry, to turn to Spanish as well. In my opinion, the biggest opportunity that digital brings is on the changing of the business models. The way we consume digital right now in our lives is totally different than what we did several years ago. So I think the change in procurement model, to change the way the water companies buy and consume this technology will allow to change and adapt innovation at a much faster pace than we have today in water. Water is a very slow moving market in terms of adopting innovation, and I think digital can change the way we buy, the way we sell, the way we interact, and the way we share information. And I think the biggest potential is to unlock that buying and procurement capability, and then all technology, finally, unfortunately, will then be implemented in the water industry.
Okay, now let's focus on technology. We have Acciona, Suez, and Schneider here with us. We see new trends, and also there is a change in the culture at the marketplace, at the workplace. So, for example, Vicente, Alejandro, Jokin, could you tell us about the biggest disruption, big disruption in your company, and how you are dealing with that?
Yeah. Yes. Well, I think that this new context to continue being key actors in this area, in this field, it's necessary to readapt, to rethink about our business models, how to approach to the customer, how to deal with our portfolio. And here in Suez, we think that it's important to rethink about this concept to management, the concept to operation management, how to go a step ahead, thanks or thinking about the new process transformation, okay, transformation process, sorry. And what is important is that 4 years ago, more or less, here in Spain, we think that, well, it was the moment to transform our way in which we are currently managing the operation. And we decided to create Dynapsis. What's Dynapsis? Dynapsis is a mix of 2 words, digital and synapsis. Synapsis is the process in which neurons bind each others in our brain, okay? And the idea is to organize, to define a new concept of operational center, okay, an advanced operation center, based on 3 pillars, 3 main pillars. The first one is to be, of course, an advanced operation center, managing different cities, different municipalities in the same region here in Spain. The second one is to be an innovation lab, okay, to check, to validate, to test new technologies in this global process. And the third one is to be a place where to share knowledge, to share experiences, to push with startups, with spin-off, with research centers, etc. The new lines in speaking in technology, but not only in technology, of course, in services, in new services, and how to go ahead in this new way that we have in front of us. And within the Dynapsis concept, we develop the DCDC, not ACDC, DCDC, okay, that is the Digital Control Data Center, that is our new virtualized SCADA based on WonderWorld, based on the Schneider technology. And the idea is how to offer to our concession, through our exploitation, not only our exploitation, but also the external customers, how to offer a new kind, a new type of SCADA, virtualized SCADA with the information centralized in the cloud, in a private cloud, to increase the mobility to access to the SCADA from any device, and of course with an important cybersecurity layer over the SCADA, and of course reducing capex and opex. That is a detail, okay, that is important. So I think that all this new context, I think is a reality, and we have gone from the storytelling to the story doing.
Okay.
It's quite similar from him, but the idea is the principal trends that we are focusing here is that all the things relation with digital can get improvements. And this is that you don't need to define one only line.
Back, sorry, I was trying to get to your slide. Sorry.
Okay, don't worry.
2 slides back, please. One more, please. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. The lines of trends. Maybe there is not lines for trending things in technology in these moments. The principal idea that we try to focus is that you need to define something wherever. And in the way that you are defining what are the needs, what are the incomes, what are the outcomes, you are putting technology there. This is an example. This is SECOA, that is our control room, our water control center, that is to provide intelligence to the people, intelligence to the things. We call that this is a tool. This is a tool for us. This is a tool for our customers, and this is a tool for learning. What we want to learn? We want to learn the things that we are going to discover using connectivity, cybersecurity, visualizations, a lot of topics of different visualizations, and also digital optimization. Because in the moment that we are connected to the facilities, you are learning for the facilities, compare facilities, and doing a lot of improvements using the same technologies. Of course, we are connecting to the cloud with cloud services. In this case, for example, we also do it with Wonderworld and using the cloud with Microsoft Azure to do all the storage data and then the learning process. But learning process with different partners, different people that are collaborating with us to generate value from the data to the information. And this is the key trend for all of us. And also, and never forget that the people that is working in this activity is changing. And if you try to find what is the principal technological trend, is the people, the computer of the people, their brain. And this is, for me, the key important thing in these moments of digitalization. Because I think that it's absolutely not necessary. It's a reality of the people that a device like this is changing the mind of a lot of people that are using the technology in a different way. That is most important, the way that you are going to use the technology. And philosophical idea, but I think that this has a very important, deep learning in how we are going to use that technology.
Okay, from a Schneider perspective, we see that the biggest disruption is happening in events, in the event thinking. So what the customers are thinking of transversal events, much like Gonzalo was introducing, where you are addressing things that go beyond the facilities on the shop floor or the enterprise. So you have this convergence of the IT world and the OT world together, and you are thinking about events like energy, like leakage, like customer satisfaction, like assets optimization, like people optimization, and these things go beyond any department or any data source within the water company. And then you need connectivity, you need to visualize all that to have that holistic view of all your water company, and then you need the application intelligence layer to actually be able to do predictive capability to improve energy, to reduce energy consumption, to enlarge the life of the assets, to improve the efficiency of your people, to reduce your water loss levels, etc. So I think that the data now is flowing across the company from the field to the enterprise. There's plenty of technologies that allow, and we at Schneider are approaching this with our EcoStruxure solution, connecting with any device on the field, connecting to any control center at the control level, to any application, and then sharing the data with different platforms like Microsoft, like others, with other technology companies, to actually empower this data and bring it to the customer in this holistic view. And I think this is the most powerful thing, is when you start seeing and learning from those invisible things that Alejandro was mentioning, now that become visible, and now you can act on them and improve them. So I think very much in line with my colleagues here, the biggest disruption, I think, is in these horizontal issues that touch on all items of people, process, technology around across the water companies.
Very clear. So now I would like to turn the conversation to our non-technical guests, Alejandro Maceira and Gonzalo. Alejandro, you are the director of Agua and Smart Water magazine specialized in water and wastewater. And you are in contact with many different types of water operators. So, from your perspective, what are the main challenges they are facing when it comes to digitization?
Bueno, yo creo que hay una cierta resistencia al cambio en diversos colectivos, la ha habido ahora menos, sobre todo en algunas élites dirigentes que han vivido, digamos, en las últimas décadas cómodamente instaladas en un mercado maduro, estable, pues más centrado en las concesiones a servicios municipales, etc. Y aquí ha habido una cierta resistencia al cambio de modelos de negocio y a impulsar, digamos, estas nuevas líneas de soluciones, de digitalización, etc. Es algo que evidentemente está cambiando, pues la mayoría de grandes empresas pues cada vez dan más importancia a estas líneas de negocio y se han impulsado internamente. Una vez que se vencen esas resistencias, creo que dentro de las empresas también ha habido muchas barreras. Hace poco un líder de la digitalización, una gran empresa española, nos contaba que después de pelear muchos años con su cúpula para tener recursos, para desarrollar sus soluciones, cuando consiguió que le dieran ese empujón, se encontró con la resistencia de los sindicatos, que incluso llegaban a amenazarle porque pensaban que sus puestos de trabajo pues, se iban a ir al garete, ¿no? Que los operarios de una depuradora, por ejemplo, pues no iban a existir en 10 años, que en parte puede ser verdad, pero bueno, de ahí dentro entiendo que hay una gestión del cambio que todas las organizaciones tienen que afrontar. Entonces, a nivel corporativo veo esas dos resistencias y a nivel más quizás de sector público, administraciones, etcétera, veo también a veces la poca disponibilidad a invertir en este tipo de soluciones. Históricamente en el sector del agua siempre se ha dicho que invertir en saneamiento no daba rédito, no daba votos porque no se veían esas infraestructuras, no se veía dónde iba el agua ni nada. Y yo creo que con esto pasa algo similar, ¿no? Al final, pues poner sensores está muy bien y da muchos datos, pero la mayoría de los ciudadanos no lo pueden valorar, ¿no? Y aquí quería poner un ejemplo que el público español seguro que va a conocer muy bien, que es el de las últimas inundaciones que hemos tenido en el Levante, la famosa DANA, en la cual el SAIC, el Sistema Automático de Información Hidrológica, jugó un papel fundamental en la prevención y en la propia gestión del episodio, ¿no? Esos SAIC que llevan en las cuencas españolas bueno, varias décadas, tienen un coste anual aproximado de mantenimiento de 5 o 6 millones de euros, pero hagámonos una idea de lo que ha salvado en un episodio como este, y no solo de daños materiales, sino de vidas humanas. Pues bien, esos SAIC en muchas cuencas están parados porque no se han renovado contratos o se han renovado en condiciones precarias, con lo cual los servicios da pena verlos. Entonces es un ejemplo de un servicio, yo creo que barato, muy eficiente, imprescindible en los tiempos en los que vivimos, tampoco con una tecnología, no estamos aquí hablando tampoco de tecnología aeroespacial, pero que, como decía, es un servicio que no se mantiene en las condiciones en las que debería estar, ¿no? Y yo creo que en todo lo que es la digitalización a veces nos encontramos con esa resistencia, y ahí es el sector el que tiene que hacer llegar lo que decía al principio, ese mensaje de eficiencia, de hacer más con menos, y de aliarse con el sector público, con usuarios finales, para lograr un mejor uso del agua que va a redundar en beneficio de todos.
And Gonzalo, from your experience as a consultant and advisor for governments and international organizations, United Nations and the UAE and others, you are in contact with many different stakeholders, players in this complex ecosystem. Where are the main barriers that you are seeing them facing?
Yeah, I think just 4 days ago I was in Lima. Lima may become the next Cape Town in a year and a half, maybe 2 years. The water utility is serving around 10 million people, and they're still struggling to find a solution for long-term water security in the metropolitan area. And one of the things they're thinking of is a pretty well-known major diversion project from another catchment, assuming an upfront capital cost of $1 billion. And there's no thinking at all in terms of water demand management. And even if you think in terms of water demand management, you realize that they're still facing a significant problem in terms of the replacement of assets, significant problem in terms of leakage, identification. So there's a massive space for companies like this one and other companies in order to tap that potential. But just a few weeks ago, I was in Buenos Aires as well, and the water utility there serves 15 million people. They report losses, leakage of around 60%, but they have no micrometering at all. So, but imagine that we think in terms of like doing all this proper metering and doing it in a digital way. So we introduce all these micro-sensing systems, and we provide consumers with real-time information on their consumption. And at the same time, we detect leakage sectorally, and we are able to intervene, immediately. Even in that case, if your pricing scheme is not smart enough, having that smart technology will not deliver at all. Why? Because you need pricing schemes to show that you can reward those consumers that behave in a more efficient way and penalize those that are not behaving in such an efficient way. And we are seeing this massively. So I think that the main challenge is very much in trying to understand that, for instance, when you think in terms of reclaimed wastewater reuse or desalination, technologies are there. Technological challenges are marginal now. So in desalination, we've been able to go from 7 to 1 in terms of energy consumption. In reclaimed wastewater reuse, we've got triple barrier technologies, advanced treatments, some of them by companies that are on stage here. The point is, what is the problem in terms of penetration in the market that we are continuously downplaying or overlooking governance challenges? And governance, from an OECD perspective, which is one of the international organizations I work with, is very much about mastering complexity. So it's not only about integrity, transparency, accountability, and stakeholder engagement. It's not just about getting the right institutional setup. It's very much about mastering complexity, redesigning economic incentives, working on more advanced procurement. It's very much about being able to create enabling conditions for the uptake of innovations. So if we have innovations, if we have technological development, but we don't work on the other side of the road, nothing's going to deliver from my viewpoint. And I work in 80 countries, in almost every continent.
Very clear, thank you. Cybersecurity is a common threat for the water industry. And are the companies getting ready? How are they tackling cybersecurity, for example, Acciona? Is it a top priority for your company, Alejandro?
It's critical. It's not a top priority, it's critical. We are working in water, infrastructure of water, and the water that in most of the cases the people is going to drink. Cybersecurity means different concepts. Cybersecurity means connectivity. If you don't have cybersecurity, what are you going to do? Connect critical infrastructures. In these moments, the the idea or the feedback that we receive from the society and for the governments or for the tenders, for the regulations, is that you need to protect. But I remember that 5 years ago, we was absolutely protected, disconnect. Maximum protection, never connect big facilities. But some things like some keywords that starting to move in the internet and in the conference people was about 4.0 industry, digital transformation, and then cybersecurity happens. Because remember that cybersecurity was a concept that only used IT people. IT people base it in companies, maybe some softwares to prevent in your computer. But now we must to connect the facilities to the cloud, to other facilities, to get to intro to supervise, remote supervise, and do action, control, remote control. And then cybersecurity needs to let you entry, but safety. To let you go and see, but safety. And of course, prevent some hacking or some malintentions to do with your facility. In this case, we are working in different aspects or topics in relation with cybersecurity that you need to segment networks, what are for one thing, what proposal, and other things. Technological needs about to scan what is the traffic between networks, what is the purpose of this traffic, because cybersecurity is not to cut the traffic. It's like a police in highway. The traffic must be go, but you need to see. And if you see something that will be grown or will be not so good intentions, you need to cut and discover why and where. These kind of aspects now is doing a lot of improvements in very important softwares and high potential software. Schneider have different companies, small companies that integrate their softwares in analyze traffic, auto-discover. You need to see all the traffic and all the people or people matchings that is in the network. IoT, you can think that in few years we'll have millions and millions of the devices connected to the cloud and connected between them. We are speaking about cybersecurity point to point or a different political or regulation about cybersecurity. I need that it's extremely important cybersecurity. We must to work much more in cybersecurity, and sure there is a lot of very important companies that are working in what are the key aspects or more important things to develop the new designs.
And Vicente, continuing with the DC-DC project you were telling us about, how are you treating cybersecurity there?
Well, I think that Alejandro has summarized perfectly well my words. So what is important within the DC-DC concept is that we have invested in this project more than €500,000 in cybersecurity layers, not only the software platform, but also the OT infrastructure, okay, because it's well, very relevant to securitize end-to-end from the instrumentation, from the field, from the PLCs, and of course, until the SCADA, the data storage, etc. So when I go to a customer and I explain the DC-DC concept, they ask me normally 2 questions. The first one is it secure? And the second one, where is going to be my data? And well, answering to the first question, yes, it's secure. We cover, as I mentioned before, we cover end-to-end the process. We need to control, we need to monitorize the traffic, as Alejandro mentioned before. And well, I suppose that Wonderworld platform is going to be a little bit guarantee also to add to our focus of the project, of the process. And answering to the second question is easy to say, but not to explain. Because when you say to the customer that his data is not going to be in a local place in their offices, well, their faces change immediately. And you must explain that you have the highest restrictive rules, the highest secure rules to protect their data, and this data is going to be in our private cloud. So it's difficult to understand, to understand to the customer that this is a new paradigm. It's not, it's a new way to understand the communication, to understand the technology, and it's necessary, absolutely necessary, that operators, customers change their mind maps and the way to understand the management of the networks, the management of the assets, the management of plants, etc., etc. Okay, so I think that it's not only a technological transform, a technological process, it's more than this. It's a cultural and a social transform that is going to be critical in the next, well, currently and of course in the next years.
Okay, and now to conclude this section, an open question to you all. How do you see the future, the digital future? So what is the next thing, in the next big thing, I mean, in the coming 3-5 years?
I see a lot of things. I see APPs, industrial APPs, a lot of them. I see co-creation, collaboration between a lot of companies, a lot of people, different countries, different cultures, a lot of people collaborating. I see new technologies that are going to discover what is the use of 3D impression, maybe in water. Okay, we are going to explore. I see multi-platforms with a lot of people connected at the same device or at the same platform to develop software. People that develop small code, because with a small code, you can do incredible software developments, this increase of the productivity or something like that. And for me, I think that it will be most important, the explosion of the IoT. I think that in the IoT will be discovered in the industrial segments a lot of new things.
Okay, Vicente.
Yes, well, for me, the most relevant thing is that the customer profile is going to be to change. I think the work, the jobs profile is going to be different, but of course our customers are going to demand different things, are going to demand personalized services, and this is where it's important and it's key for the future, the big alliances between companies, between big companies, between big and research centers, big and medium companies. I think the future, this new period, human period, is necessary to go with other companies, and the partnerships are going to be key in the future. We cannot go alone in this travel, in this trip, and it's important to understand that everything is connected, and we need to understand how to extract knowledge from this new situation regarding the data, the management of data, the management of processes, and of course with the new business models and revenue models that are going to come in the, well, now and in the future, in the near future.
Yeah, I think that a decade ago, beyond demo sites, digitalization was the future. And I think that for high-income people, yeah, like all of us, I would say that digitalization is not anymore the future, it's here to stay. But for large areas of the world, it's still the future. So I think that it's really critical to understand that if technology is a means to an end, then we need to be able to understand societal challenges that we're trying to address. So for instance, some of them have been mentioned here, the complexity in terms of connecting urban water management to the wider catchment, or the ability to have this nexus perspective and understand that a thermal power plant is a massive water user for cooling, and at the same time, a desalination plant can be seen as a massive energy user. And if we look at this from this perspective, we will understand that there's not anymore a water sector or an energy sector, that we need to think from a more complex point of view. And if I try to think about some potential for the future, I recall that a year ago I was invited to lead this discussion at the OECD in Paris on the potential of distributed ledgers and blockchain technologies and water. And I was surprised, I was really struck by two features. One of them was that I had like 1,000 people listening to me, and when I asked the audience, where are you coming from? Almost no one was coming from water utilities, almost no one was a water planner or a water resources manager. Most of the people were coming from IT companies. So great technological knowledge, no understanding at all of water challenges. And the second striking fact was to try and understand that blockchain technologies may work. They actually work in some places of the world. But when you look at the massive energy consumption of data centers these days, IBM, Cisco, Google, Telefonica, etc., you realize that the energy consumption of those data centers today is 3 times all energy consumption in the whole African continent. So I think that unless we understand these contextual issues, I think we're going to fail. And it'll be really frustrating because you excel at delivering technology.
Thank you. Alejandro.
Bueno, yo como decía antes, veo cambios en los modelos de negocio. Antes lo comentaba, bueno, pues muchos cambios de centrar el foco en los modelos concesionales y sacarlo y ponerlo en las soluciones tecnológicas. Veo también en ese sentido un auge de los contratos por rendimiento, de los performing contracts, donde todas las partes pueden ganar con una mayor eficiencia en el uso del agua, en el uso de la energía que estas herramientas permiten. En cuanto al uso del agua, en cuanto al uso del recurso, veo mucha más flexibilidad. Yo creo que este auge de los datos, de la información, nos tiene que permitir ser mucho más flexibles a la hora de repartir adecuadamente el recurso, que es algo muy importante, donde hay una competencia entre distintos usos, por ejemplo, entre usos industriales, agrícolas, energéticos. Esta información, estos datos nos van a permitir asignar con más eficiencia a quién puede usar el agua en cada momento, y creo que con el tiempo vamos a dejar de ver esas concesiones por larguísimos plazos de tiempo que se hacían sobre un papel y demás, ¿no? Eso yo creo que claramente está en declive, y también vamos a ver probablemente cambios en la tarificación, porque vamos a tener mucha más información de dónde viene el agua en cada momento, qué calidad tiene el agua cuando la devolvemos, cómo están funcionando las infraestructuras, cuál es el precio de la energía. Entonces esto nos tiene que hacer caminar hacia una tarificación más inteligente en la que en cada momento se pague también en función de ese coste del recurso. Veo también a las nuevas generaciones, a los nativos digitales, exigiendo muchísimo más de lo que hemos pedido nosotros y por supuesto, como decía Gonzalo, estoy hablando del primer mundo, pero bueno, es una tendencia que entiendo que con los años se irá extendiendo a todo el planeta. Creo que será impensable en unos años que alguien en su casa, cuando abra el grifo, no sepa de dónde viene esa agua, cómo ha sido tratada, dónde se va a devolver, con qué calidad, etcétera, ¿no? Estamos viendo que estas nuevas generaciones están demandando muchísima más transparencia, muchísimo más cuidado del medio ambiente, y toda esta sensorización lo que nos tiene que permitir, evidentemente, es ofrecer a través de apps, como decía Alejandro. Estoy seguro que se va a desarrollar un ecosistema tremendo en ese sentido, y los operadores, desde luego, tendrán que esforzarse en liderar esos cambios, porque si no, otros actores vendrán y con seguridad lo harán. Y también en cuanto a la economía del dato, pues veo muchas posibilidades de, por un lado, nuevos actores en el sector del agua, lo estamos viendo, sobre todo en IoT, en conectividad, muchas nuevas empresas que se acercan a nuestro sector. Y también para los clásicos, los tradicionales, desde luego que se van a abrir nuevas posibilidades con el uso de los datos. Y aquí brevemente os cuento una anécdota. Recientemente hablaba con un profesional del marketing de consumo, y me decía que esta sensorización, por ejemplo, a ellos les ofrecería muchísimos datos sobre quién usa el agua en una casa en cada momento, que sería muy útil para su negocio. Entonces, bueno, con esto acabo, pero muchas posibilidades.
Thank you. Jokin.
Well, I might repeat, so I see huge advances in connectivity, in data management, and for that collaboration between companies to understand the potential of that data sharing and the data exploitation for more efficient use. And I see changes in business models, because otherwise the technology development and the efficiency potential will not be untapped. The money is in the operating margins, and if we are able to optimize the way we manage all the water cycle, then we will be able to release money and budgets that then we will be able to implement, to use for implementing, improving the infrastructure, and making more with less. So I think it's connectivity, collaboration, and changing of business models.
Okay, thank you all. We might have time for one question, probably, 1, 2 questions. So if anybody in the room wants to ask a question to our experts, you can go directly to the microphone, stay in front of them, and ask your question. There are 2 microphones, both sides. Seems that everything was very clear.
Oh, yes.
It's a big, totally clear.
Yeah.
Big room.
Transparent like water. So Lucas, please, if you come back on stage for wrap up.
It must have been very clear, because I think we had a very compelling story from all of our speakers here today, and even I learned a lot. I've been in this space for over 10 years now, but even I learned a lot today. So first of all, I want to thank all the speakers very much for their insights, for sharing how they feel about this market. And just want to quickly summarize what we've heard today. I think we all agree that the digital transformation is driving a huge change in this industry. Water used to be traditionally a very slow-moving, a very laid-back industry, one of the last ones that had never really been industrialized. But we see tremendous change. In fact, I attended the Smart Water conference in Miami a couple of weeks ago, and one of the speakers said, the automated plant of the future will be here quicker than we think. So I think it's a very big vision that he showed, but it's going to happen very quickly. We heard a little bit about the funding implication, but also the implication that people have to see value in water. I think, Gonzalo, you mentioned that people need to be able to, also need to pay, need to be either punished or helped by the way they deal with water. So the funding is always a huge issue, but we will see new vehicles in this industry. And then several of the speakers mentioned this is not driven by one company alone. We cannot be in this as a single entity. We all need to work together in various constellations. The market has legacy systems everywhere. All of our large customers have not just one vendor, they have multi-vendor infrastructures. And so I think the trend that we at Schneider, of course, try to support very openly is to be open and to help everyone in the market to connect to the digital layer and make the best use of the data and investments they have had today. So with that, I would like everyone for attending. The turnout is still amazing me. This is far more people than we had envisioned. And if I could ask you for one thing, if you could kindly visit us later on, give us feedback. Was this useful for you? Do you have open questions left? Please come to see us. The water wastewater team is over there and waiting for you to engage in the discussions. Thank you very much, and thank you.